Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
Deeper more, Olivia whispered, her voice filled with longing. Those words shattered all my restraint. I lifted her dress completely and touched her most intimate place. The warm, soft sensation and the overwhelming fragrance swept me away. It connected with the scent from her underarm, weaving a seamless whole. I brought my face close and inhaled deeply. The rich, moist scent, concentrated with her instinct, melted my rationality. As my fingers explored her soft skin, Olivia let out a low moan. Her body responded with growing heat, fueling my desire. I reached deeper, touching her most private core. Her warmth and moisture coursed through my fingertips, and my body trembled with a physical pleasure I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't captivated by perfume, but by her raw, intoxicating essence. It was a midsummer night when I met her at a bar, and the primal scent wafting subtly from her underarm caught me completely. Everyone else wrinkled their noses at that unique smell, but there was one person who was completely hooked: me. That night, my heart raced just by experiencing her with my nose instead of my hands, a testament to the kind of love that could spark. I'm Jack Wilson, 64 years old. This story begins with the scent of a woman. By day, I live simply and contentedly on my pension, and at night, I spend time at the local bar I always go to. I used to think life's joys were found in these simple moments. That night, like always, I took my usual spot at the corner of the bar counter. But something instantly struck me. A woman was sitting alone, one seat away from me. She looked to be in her late 30s, wearing a sleeveless white dress with her long brown hair loosely tied back, staring at her smartphone. Her expression showed traces of irritation. I leaned slightly toward her and asked, "Something wrong?" She glanced up with a sharp look and replied in a clipped tone, "I got stood up on a date." Her voice was laced with frustration and exhaustion. "That's rough," I said in a low tone. She sighed and continued, "Yeah, I'm good at meeting people and getting to the first date, but there's never a second one." "Why is that?" She tried to laugh it off, but her smile was tinged with resignation and loneliness. At that moment, a distinct scent brushed my senses. It was sweet yet subtly warm, with a sharp edge. It wasn't a store-bought perfume or some artificially crafted fragrance tailored to someone's taste. It was the vibrant pulse of her body, the raw scent of her body. That fragrance, emanating softly from her underarm, sent my heart into a frenzy. It had been a long time since I'd encountered such a pure, authentic smell. Nowadays, young people go to great lengths to mask their natural scent, so moments like this are rare. To me, though, that scent was a priceless treasure. I knew myself well enough to recognize that I found it utterly lovable. It was too intense to call a mere preference and too captivating to dismiss as a whim. It was an instinctive pull, defying all thought or rationale. I felt like I could keep drinking my beer all night, as if her scent were my sustenance. She tilted her glass and gave a small smile. "It's kind of funny, telling a stranger all this." Her name was Olivia. As she tilted her beer glass, the ice clinked, and I took a quiet sip of my whiskey. I subtly inhaled her scent again. It lingered at the tip of my nose, exuding a wild energy that no fancy perfume could ever mimic. Olivia let out a soft sigh and said, "You know, every time I feel so easily discarded, it chips away at my confidence." Her eyes reflected both hurt and hesitation. I set my glass down and asked, "Do you not know why that happens?" She tilted her head slightly and replied, "No. Is it my personality? My looks? Or something harder to pin down?" Her voice was quiet but sincere. I gazed at her profile silently. Her slightly tense shoulders caught my eye. Suddenly, she asked, "Is there a weird smell or something?" Her voice carried a mix of embarrassment and anxiety. "I've been told sometimes it's a strong scent. I didn't even wear perfume." I slowly shook my head and smiled. "No, it's a really good smell. Addictively so." At that, Olivia's tense expression softened, and the corners of her mouth curved gently upward. In that moment, when someone affirmed the very thing she'd been rejected for, her eyes flickered with relief and surprise. Wow, that's a rare reaction. You're the first person to say that, she said with a small laugh. I'm the type who falls in love with scents, I replied earnestly. Her playful eyes met mine as she teased. Isn't that a bit out there? For the first time, we burst into laughter together. Her laugh was airy and heartfelt. Suddenly, the bar buzzed with sudden life. A guitar strummed somewhere, and a live band took the stage. Olivia's eyes sparkled. Isn't this the perfect time to dance? She asked with a mischievous smile, grabbing my hand. Dancing's not really my thing. I hesitated, but she shook her head, laughing. Just sway a little, that's all. Come on. Reluctantly, I let her pull me to the dance floor. She moved gracefully to the rhythm, her dress swaying slightly, and with every motion, her scent enveloped me like a gentle tide. The closer I got, the stronger it became, and my heart pounded as if it would explode. When she spun and laughed, her fragrance spread around her. A few people nearby subtly turned their heads to glance at her, but I was completely drunk on her scent. It wasn't just a smell, it was the essence of her, everything alive and real about her. Her eyes were free as she danced, and I realized I was falling for her completely. But a voice of reason whispered, "This is too intense. Be careful." That inner conflict only stoked my desire even more. After the dance, we returned to the counter. Olivia caught her breath and laughed. Not bad, right? Thanks to you, I replied with a smile. Her cheeks were slightly flushed, making her even more captivating. Our conversation deepened again. Setting her glass down, Olivia asked, "Okay, be honest. What exactly do you like?" I looked straight into her eyes and said, "Your underarm scent. Not some fabricated perfume, but the smell that comes from your body. I love it." A brief silence followed, but it wasn't awkward. It was a moment when honesty forged a deeper bond between us. Olivia murmured softly, "Tonight, I was alone." Her voice carried a mix of loneliness and anticipation. Those words reignited my desire to delve deeper into her scent. My small, tidy studio apartment was ready. Bookshelves, gleaming wooden floors, and a fan gently stirring the summer air. Olivia slipped off her sandals at the door and smiled. "It's surprisingly neat. So I can focus on the scent," I replied, making her laugh again. She pulled a bottle of wine from her bag. "Shall we have a glass?" "Sure," I said, grabbing glasses. As she tried to pour, her hand slipped and wine spilled across the table. "Oh no," she exclaimed, laughing, and I couldn't help but laugh too. The wine stained the hem of her dress, and she lifted it slightly, wiping it with a handkerchief. In that moment, her scent drew closer. As her dress lifted, revealing her thigh, the subtle fragrance from her skin overwhelmed me. "It's fine, just leave it," I started, but she looked at me with playful eyes. "This is an expensive dress." Her laughter filled the room, easing the tension between us. Her movements as she wiped the wine, the glimpse of her skin, and the warm scent emanating from her awakened every one of my senses. I couldn't suppress the urge to get closer. Her light, sweet laughter warmed the air in the room. The fan's breeze stirred her hair, carrying her scent to me again, that sweet, wild smell from her underarm. It wasn't sweat, perfume, or anything ordinary. It was her pheromones, her raw instinct. "Should I shower?" she asked, lifting her dress slightly, her eyes a mix of hesitation and playfulness. "I'd hate to lose it. Washing it away would take what I want," I said seriously. She paused, but didn't pull away. Instead, her eyes held a spark of anticipation as she lowered the dress. We sat on the floor, not the sofa or bed. I sat close, cautiously letting my shoulder brush hers. "Pardon me," I said, bringing my face near her arm. Without hesitation, I leaned toward her underarm. The soft, spreading scent set my senses ablaze. Each breath made me feel more alive, my senses sharpening instead of dulled by the alcohol. Olivia asked in a slightly surprised tone, "You really like it that much?" "It's the best," No perfume could ever compare. I replied, my voice low, drunk on her scent. That's one of a kind, she said with a laugh, but her voice carried curiosity. A woman with a scent like this is truly rare, I said sincerely. Olivia lowered her eyes and nodded slightly. Something shifted in her. That night, her scent, so often rejected, was celebrated, and I was already craving the next step. Olivia took a breath and asked, "Can I ask something weird?" "Go ahead. Can a scent like this really excite you that much?" Her voice was a mix of curiosity and embarrassment. Instead of answering, I leaned closer and took a deep breath. "It's not just your underarm. I want to know the deeper parts of you." My voice trembled with heat. "Show me," she whispered. Her eyes sparkled with expectation and a hint of nervousness, her words shaking my instincts to their core. My hand reached carefully toward her lower abdomen, feeling her warmth through the fabric of her dress. She tensed briefly, as if to pull away, but stopped. She held her breath, feeling my touch. The heat through the fabric pulled me in completely. The scent that began at her underarm led me deeper, captivating me entirely. I lowered my face to her abdomen, where a warm, rich fragrance enveloped me. It was a potent scent some might reject, but to me, it was sacred, awakening long-forgotten pleasures. Sweet yet wild, it was the essence of her deepest self. Each breath made my body burn hotter, my grip on reason loosening. "It's good here too," I murmured. Olivia looked at me with eyes that seemed to already know the answer. Her cheeks were slightly flushed, her lips curved in a soft smile. "It's not just good. I've never experienced a scent like this," I said, my voice trembling as my desire became more evident. I slowly lifted her dress. She didn't resist. Instead, she leaned forward, welcoming my touch. Her exposed skin was moist with sweat, the scent richer and more intense. I brought my face to the inside of her thigh. The deep fragrance there felt like it carried her very soul. Sweet, damp, and instinctual, it dominated my senses. I breathed it in slowly, savoring it. It wasn't just a scent, it was a vivid trace of her existence. My hand slid along her thigh, reaching deeper, and her breathing quickened. Her body trembled slightly, the sensation passing through my fingertips. "Deeper, more," Olivia whispered, her voice filled with longing. Those words shattered all my restraint. I lifted her dress completely and touched her most intimate place. The warm, soft sensation and the overwhelming fragrance swept me away. It connected with the scent from her underarm, weaving a seamless whole. I brought my face close and inhaled deeply. The rich, moist scent, concentrated with her instinct, melted my rationality. As my fingers explored her soft skin, Olivia let out a low moan. Her body responded with growing heat, fueling my desire. I reached deeper, touching her most private core. Her warmth and moisture coursed through my fingertips, and my body trembled with a physical pleasure I hadn't felt in years. As her body responded more intensely, the boundaries between us dissolved. I lowered myself to feel her scent more closely. My lips touched her intimate place, and the rich fragrance overwhelmed my senses. Sweet yet powerful, it awakened my raw, untamed instincts. I explored her, savoring her scent. Her moans grew louder, her hands pulling me closer. In that moment, I felt a peak of ecstasy I hadn't known in years. As her body trembled violently, reaching its peak, the scent bursting from her depths shook me to my core. It wasn't just a smell, it was everything about her. Her passion, her instinct, her vitality, distilled into that fragrance. I breathed it in deeply, lost in the ecstasy of physical pleasure. My body, consumed by her scent and response, merged with her as all reason and restraint vanished. Olivia's breathing slowed, and she looked at me with languid eyes. "I've never felt like this," she said, her voice trembling with satisfaction and surprise. I pressed my face to her sweat-dampened skin, inhaling her scent again. "This fragrance, everything about you drives me wild," I said, my voice still thick with heat. She asked softly, "So tell me, Why do I never get a second date? Her eyes were serious, yearning for an answer. I lifted my face slowly and said, I'll show you from now on. Everything. How to use the power of her scent to ensnare a man's heart. That night, the misunderstandings between us began to dissolve. And I was certain this woman had a gift for driving men wild with her scent. It wasn't morning yet, but the night was quietly fading. The fan in my studio apartment had stopped, and the faint sound of summer insects drifted in from outside. I lit a cigarette in the dim light and exhaled a long plume of smoke. Olivia, asleep face down on the floor, her back glistening with sweat, radiated vibrant life. Her scent still lingered in the room, a fragrance no artificial scent could replicate. I breathed it in deeply, again and again. Olivia mumbled sleepily, You really love that smell, don't you? Yes, it's the best scent to me, I replied softly. She gave a small laugh. That's the first time I've heard that. The men before didn't know how to appreciate it, I said firmly. She raised a playful eyebrow. That's harsh. But it's true. That scent isn't for everyone, I said, putting out my cigarette. But weirdos like me definitely exist. Olivia propped herself up slightly and asked, Do you believe in fate? I do. Our meeting at that bar is proof. She smiled softly, slipping on a shirt. You didn't even ask my name at first, Olivia said with a teasing look. I already knew you through your scent. More woman than anyone, I replied, feeling her fragrance fill the room. It seeped into the carpet, the sheets, the curtains, not like air freshener that fades, but a scent that deepens with time, eternal with memory. Olivia, the fragrant woman. The smell the world's men shunned had completely captivated one man. That was me, Jack Wilson, 64 years old. The memory and scent of this night will linger with me forever.